looking for my wings. I need my hands. This life is real. Can't play pretend. Came off the bench. I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Valorant Challenger South Asia. Today is the day 2 of the tournament, and of course it's driven by Hyundai. I'm going to be your host and caster Necro once again, and John alongside with me is none other than Crips. And Crips, we had something special planned today, man, but it's fine. You know, we can execute that idea some other day, but today we have a big day ahead of us. God's Reign versus VLT. What are your thoughts on that?
This is the big match that we've all been waiting for. You know, in the last few years of Valorant history in India, we've all been saying that India is ready for the next stage of Valorant. We're ready for the world. And, you know, this year has been quite good. Quite a lot of our teams are going abroad and they're showing us what kind of talent we have. But not just that. Now the rest of the world is coming to India. We have so many non-South Asian players in this league also playing, and this is such a wonderful opportunity for South Asian players as well, because they get exposed to more perspectives. They get the opinions from people from elsewhere as well who have a different view of the game, and that just helps them further their game up. So this is the game that we've been waiting for, a team which has imports from across the world.
Exactly. I mean, both those teams have 2 international players. On the other hand, God's Reign has got 2 Aussies underneath their belts. And on the other hand, they've got Doma and Eccles. We don't need to say anything about these 2 players. But yeah, one thing it's for sure is that Doma hasn't been playing for almost a year. And that's a huge gap, right? I mean, Eccles as well. He's been playing a little bit of tournaments here and there. He's been also changing a couple of teams, but now he's finally settled himself in Velocity Gaming's. But what do you think? Doma's performance, you think, is it going to be hindered by that 1-year gap?
It's not exactly like a year. It's more like a couple months, because he was active throughout the off season as well. Now, of course, this event does not the off-season events don't have as much gravitas as this particular event does, based on the hierarchy of the events. But this makes Eccles the only player in the world who has competed in every single continental region. He was infamous when he was in Team Liquid and in 100 Thieves. And while he was over there, he earned his notoriety, moved over to European teams. He was playing for Human Tripwires recently, and now he's here in India. This makes him the only person who's competed both in, not both, in Americas, in Europe, and in Asia, in all 3 regions of the world.
I mean, look, Eccles, as we all know, he also played for NIP once in a while in the past as well. But on the other hand, let's come down to the Aussies right here, because we all know God's Reign. These Aussies, we haven't really seen them in action personally. I don't exactly know what sort of a scenario, what sort of play we're going to be able to see from those Aussies. But right now, we've got the walk-ins on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the players of Velocity and God's Reign in front of us. And of course, at the start, we're going to have Elephant inside from VLT. Every single player has to be stoked. And then we've got Deathmaker and Rapport. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'm so stoked for this match.
This is what we've been waiting for. Here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These players, they've shown what they're made of to the rest of the world, and now they are here to show whether they can still be the kings of South Asian Valorant or not, or do the Indian players as well have what it takes to keep up with their foreign counterparts. This is where India merges with the rest of the world. The worlds collide and these players unite.
I just love it, man. Finally, you're able to see those players. I'm not gonna lie, Doma and Eccles are one of those players I've been looking out for since the start. I've seen them on the international stages, and now we're finally seeing them over here in South Asia. I want to see what sort of an impact they're gonna have inside every single game they're gonna be playing here today. Because look, one thing is for sure, these players have a lot of experience. And just to let you guys know, Eccles is going to be IGLing for Velocity Gaming. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sharp decision makings.
Oh yes, of course. When Eccles is at the helm, you can make sure that every person that exists on the team will have their strengths maximized, their weaknesses minimized, and they play to each other's strengths. They know each other so well. Of course, they've had plenty of time to practice, even though the players landed in this country only like a couple of months ago. They've been in talks together, and I think that much time is enough to get the steam rolling.
Let's move on ahead to the map Vito now. And as you do see, Lotus is going to be the first map banned by VLT, and then the second map's gonna be banned by God's Reign. It's gonna be Fracture. Interesting map bans coming out. We haven't seen Lotus being played so far, even yesterday, so it's quite surprising to be honestly. But now we're gonna move on over towards Haven. We saw that being played yesterday, and that was the first match as well. What is going to be the second pick here? God's Reign. This really does come down, and this is going to be so important. And oh, we're seeing Pearl here. I'm excited for Pearl.
Actually hope that they pick up a set. There you have it. No, they banned it. My goodness, I got jip-baited. I got jip-baited so hard.
And then you've got Icebox coming in, and what is going to be the decider? We all need to find out what's going to be the decider, and it's going to be played on Split, ladies and gentlemen. So Split's going to be a decider. One thing is for sure, if this matchup goes all the way on over towards Split, there's a high chance we're going to be seeing an OT.
Well, if it does go that way, then this will be the perfect way to show what kind of firepower we have added, not only to the players who are now having the opportunity to expand their horizons, but also the entire region as a whole.
Players are locked in and ready. Now we're just waiting for the match to kick off. We're going to be kicking things off on Haven, just like we did yesterday. And Crips, I forgot to ask you, man, how are you doing today? Look, today weather's quite interesting. You know, it was raining a while ago, so weather's quite interesting. Well, how are things looking like on your side, on Mumbai?
It's all sunny. Good stuff. You know what else is good? The track record of player overseas. I have some stats about Tix over here. Tix used to play for this team called Bonkers in Australia, and they've also got another amazing person who comes from the same team, a wonderful Australian caster called Donkey. I like his work. And this player, it's kind of a funny story because he's also teammates with Autumn, and Autumn now, he started playing along with Order in 2020, played for like roughly a year and a half, and then he moved on to teams like Honey Badgers and Generation of Miracles. And these two teams, they turned him into the player that he is today. Quite a lot of firepower on the God's Reign end as well, but Velocity are the ones who have players who've proven themselves at bigger stages. Doma is the only player over here who has been to a Masters tournament. Imagine the amount of experience he brings to the table.
And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the first map between Velocity and God's Reign. Haven in front of you all. We're going to be starting things off with the pistol round. Autumn with a Sheriff in the hand, so I want to see what sort of an impact Autumn's going to have over here, because once you do have the Sheriff locked in, we're going to be expecting you to go a little aggressive, trying to get the damage in on the enemy team. What do we see?
Revealing it.
Already, Tix is ready with the recon dart, helping out Autumn over here. Autumn quite aggressive. On the underpass site, on the A short, spots out players. Echoes is there. He's being spotted out, not able to connect any shots. Autumn's might just want to fall back here, but he still wants a little bit more. He was a little greedy, but eventually decides to fall back.
Ember also has a hint that Hellfighter has crossed over to the other side. So at this point, God's Reign are aware that since VLT are defaulting, they can have the advantage of the pace. They start to push in. A-long heavily being acquired, but the drone spots all of them. This is gonna trigger alarm bells in Velocity Gaming.
Catching inside the site. Things looking quite interesting. All the way inside C-set. They've got every single player nailed down on the coffin. God's Reign, 3 players left alive. It's gonna be a 3-on-4 situation in which Excali has a lot of information accumulated. He knows 2 players were on a flank, and look at Excali. He's just waiting for someone to walk in his crosser. It's going to be Autumn. Does Autumn see this coming? He does! Finds a nice headshot onto Excali. Shuts him down. Eccles is there to trade it out, but he's going to be shut down as well. Trades happening back and forth. Now it's a 2-on-2 scenario. Tix goes first.
Last player standing.
Will he try to get into half? No, he's not going to be let to. VLT closes out the first round in style.
And Excali was so impactful over there. Staying in a position towards attacker spawn, that's not someone That's not a position you would expect an attacker to be this late in the round. You would have assumed that they would be closer towards C long, and he alone stops the entire flank from God's Reign. And by that time that flank was intercepted, nobody else in the defenders team was in position to trade each other. Velocity Gaming just ruined all the plans before God's Reign even started executing them.
I love the awareness. I love the adaptability too. So quick in that adaptation. Nice recon dart coming in. But unfortunately for that Marshall, the player was on the other side of the wall, so we're not able to connect any shots there. Hoax is taking down 40 HP. But it's not going to be a problem. Look, one thing we know for sure is that the opponent team is now on an E-Cup. They still have managed to force out Marshall. Maybe they're trying to do as much damage as possible. Autumn's taken down only to 16 HP. They're putting a lot of faith in Autumn.
Yeah, but now that Velocity Gaming are falling back towards the C side, this is a little bit of a concern. Since the start of the round, God's Reign, they never had any Killjoy utility planted towards the C side. It was only their Omen Ember marking that area, and he too is not going to be enough to stop this push. He can't do anything alone. He'll have to wait for the backup of his teammates. And backup is nowhere to be found. C side will be given away.
Plant goes down in C site. Again, just the same strategy coming in. Plant, play for the post plant. Every single player just falling off on the C-Log side. Now they've got the control too. They've got an alarm bot and turret watching the back line, so they're chilling for now. Ticks, Sledge is following up. And oh my god, VLT, look at, they're just so cheeky, so sneaky. The core wanted to find an opening, but he wasn't able to successfully do so. The Bulldogs now flicking in. Oh, this man is just stacking up these bodies, just piling on top of each other. And Velocity with another round on the board. It's completely fine. As expected, Velocity, they get another round over here. But now the upcoming round, God's Reign will need to make an impact. Will need to make a showing for themselves.
It's quite interesting how God's Reign never placed any Killjoy utility towards the C side, and they did not have any players marking there. Towards the start of the round, Ember was more towards the B side, and C was completely empty. And at that point in the round, you kind of like it because it shows that God's Reign have such a good read on Velocity Gaming that they can make a huge gamble like that. They can afford to let the C side be completely empty and stack up the A long area where Velocity Gaming are looking to fight. And that just shows that God's Reign have a good read. But the adaptability wasn't all that great because Velocity Gaming rushed into the C side and they were never able to stop it. Maybe the plan was to go in for a retake right from the start, but at that point in the round, when most of your utility's gone towards the A-long fight, you really don't have many resources to keep it going.
They did a successful job in that, right? Just fleshing out the utilities. And, look, first two rounds, of course, in the favor of VLT. And another thing I would like to say here, I mean, considering VLT, you know, they've always been one of the most, like, best teams inside India, one of the best teams in South Asia. And now they've got a little bit more firepower added to themselves, a little bit more experience at it. So you guys can just imagine what sort of a caliber this team's having. But nothing taken away from God's Reign 2. It's just been the first two rounds. So we can't really conclude much off of those.
Yeah, it's just been the first two rounds. But to be fair, the players that are towards the side of Velocity Gaming, Eccles and Doma, these guys have far more experience than Tix and Autumn. And they've just proven themselves on bigger stages. To be fair, when Eccles was IGLing for his previous team, he was the only person in North American Valorant at that point who was able to adapt to Astra as quickly. At that point, the Astra was just nerfed, and this man was the only person who was brave enough to experiment with it. Now that he's over here, he will bring a wealth of information for his teammates as well. And it's not like it's the first time that the players in Velocity Gaming are experienced to playing with players from other countries. Back in the olden days, somewhere in like 2015, 2016, when these guys were still competing in the circuit, the seeds of revolution were already sown. In around 2018 and 19, we still had many import players coming to India, and at that point there was this team called Entity, which these guys were a part of. At least Ethnic was there for a bit for some time, and they again had players coming in from Poland and one more. I really can't remember where the other guy is from, but at this point they are open to taking feedback from people from other regions and with other perspectives. It really gives them a lot of insight. So them gelling with Eccles and Doma is not going to be a difficulty for them at all. They've done this before.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting though. Well, we've got a tech pause over here at the start, so I don't exactly know what sort of a tech pause this is going to be like. We've got no insider info on this tech pause, but yeah, it is the estimated times, and look at every single known personality over here just sitting, having a great time watching the games. Scoreline so far was 2-0, of course, in the favor of VLT, but as I said, nothing much can be said just from that. And you were trying to dig into the past, of course. Whatever you said, it was quite true. And as a player, you're always going to be down to improve, right? If you're going to have that ego, or you're going to be like, no, I'm just one of the best players out there, it's never going to help you to be better. You always should be down to take a feedback from other people, and that's how you're going to improve in general in life.
You know, just judging on the basis of the first 2 rounds, I have a feeling that because God's Reign have also recently added a new coach to their roster, Godspeed, it's too little of a time for him to start bringing in new stuff into the roster's execution. You can plan out some stuff, but putting it into practice does take some time. So right now, the person you see on your screen, Cyborg, he happens to be the manager of God's Reign. They have recently added Godspeed, Abhishek Bajaj, to their roster as a coach, and that's also pretty cool.
Seems like Eccles is having a little issue with his computer. Again, we don't know what sort of an issue that is. Hopefully it gets sorted out as quick as possible. And oh, he uses I think so, Logitech mouse, the same one I have. Which mouse do you use?
I have a Razer, the Dada. But that doesn't, the mouse doesn't really decide how good of a player you are.
It's up to you.
That's true, that is really true. But yeah, the tech pause is not over, but as you do take a look at the highlights and how things are looking like in the first 2 rounds. So again, BLT, they have been able to dominate completely. I love one thing is that every single player from the side of BLT is looking really disciplined. They get the plant down, instantly fall back and play for the post plants. No commitments, even though they knew they have a guns advantage. And I just love the disciplined play.
Well, at least so far, the discipline doesn't really show any red flags, you know. There's no overpeaking so far. Of course, judging by 2 rounds, it's not a lot to go on. But at the end of the day, quite a lot of these mistakes come down to a person getting a little greedy or trying to exploit an opportunity by overstaying your welcome.
Players are definitely having a little talk, and one thing I gotta say for sure is that inside the tech pauses, it's kind of like a little plus point for the team that's not doing that good. Like, I'm not gonna say God's Reign is not doing that good, but this gives enough amount of time for the players of God's Reigns to try and make a strategy, right? Because the upcoming round is gonna be a gun round, and this tech pause is gonna give them enough time to discuss to each other what they want to do in the upcoming round. And these tech pauses really do help each other out, right? So I'm really looking forward for this buy round, especially because God's Reign. Oh man, look, this matchup, even the Hindi desk was saying this matchup's going to be quite close one, and we're expecting the same. And we really do want to see quite a close matchup, because yesterday it was a complete steamroll. I do not want to see one of those steamrolls once again.
Yeah, that was a difficult one to swallow. The loss of Mazel's team, it's a bit disappointing because, yes, I thought the match was going to be close. It wasn't, but that's not the thing that disappoints me. The thing that disappoints me is that Mazel and his company had the good read. They knew what was happening, and they were about to fix it. It's just that they did not have enough time left by the time they figured out what was going on.
Still, we have no clue on what exactly is going on, but let's focus on the past a little bit, right, for every single player. So I was checking the players from the side of God's Reign out. I was like, okay, 2 Aussie players, let's see what sort of gameplay they have. I went to their Twitch streams, and I was looking at their Twitch streams too, and if I'm not wrong, I was checking out Autumn and his Twitch streams, and I was like, oh, this man is quite good. Then I went over to Tix's YouTube channel, and I saw his YouTube channel as well, and I gotta say one thing, Tix's aim is just so satisfying. I was looking at his highlights, and this man is one of the most like calm, cool, collected aimers I've seen. Usually now, you know, like the new generation, everyone's just like a crack tamer. They just like throw their mouths around all over the place. It's not the same scenario with Tix. He takes his time. He's a really calm aimer.
I mean, he's not the only one, you know. Have you seen Deathmaker? His sensitivity is really high, so when you see him make those subtle movements, it feels like he's almost not moving his arm at all. And when you see his aim, it is really jittery. But his hand movements suggest that it's just so smooth, it's so chill. But then you look at the screen, it's shaky a bit because, of course, he has such high sensitivity. You know, that's the duality of man. He looks calm on the surface, but god damn, he's a beast underneath.
Exactly, and it also really does comes down to the grip styles of the mouse, right? How you're going to be holding your mouse. There's quite a lot of grip styles. You got the claw grip, you got the palm grip, you've got the fingertip grip, and then you've got the hybrid grip, which is the mixture of claw and even the fingertip and also the palm. So these are like the 4 styles of grips. So usually, from what I know, claw grip is... Yeah, there's literally styles. You didn't know that?
I knew there were 3. I knew about the claw grip and the palm grip. And fingertip is something that I had heard of, but what's this 4th one?
It's a hybrid. So you basically have your palm touching on your mouse, but at the same time you have your fingers lifted up like a claw.
Okay.
And you're holding your mouse with the fingertips. So it's like a hybrid grip.
That sounds like it will make your fingers really tired. Like you'll be done.
That's what I do. That's what I use. I use hybrid. And yeah, at the start, I was having a little issue where I used to have jittery aim, but then later on, as you do starting to get used to it, then the problems start getting resolved, and you don't really feel it much. It's like once you start getting too used to it, it's like a part of your body. You forget that you're even holding a mouse. So it's pretty much like that. That's why you gotta spend at least an hour or 2 in the warm up.
I'm just subconsciously moving my mouse, my hands across my mouse, and I'm just trying to figure out what that grip of yours is, and it feels like it's gonna make my fingers really tired. Like I'll be able to play for like 2 or 3 death matches, and then when I actually start my ranked game, I am gonna be too tired. I won't be able to aim at that point. I don't know, it just feels like a grip like that. Or maybe you described it poorly, or maybe I didn't interpret it poorly. So yeah, that could be an issue as well. But yeah,
maybe that's it. But I got a little question for you. I got a question for you, Crips.
Shoot.
Are you a juicer?
Am I a what?
Are you a juicer?
A juicer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I juice my enemies by spraying them with bullets, pumping their guts full of lead. I turn them into mincemeat. So I don't know if that's a juicer, mixer, grinder, or like a mincemeat machine. I'm a beast. I'm just saying it.
Listen, a juicer is someone who's an XQC fanboy. XQCL's in the chat.
Oh
that's what a juicer is.
Oh, by the way, XQC has his own Valorant team, you know, and they're playing quite well.
Wait, he does? I mean, I heard that he was looking forward to buy it, but I didn't know that he's already got a team inside the Valorant community. He was saying that he's gonna name his team MLT Esports. So I've got no clue if XQC's got his team, but if you're saying he's got a team, then I'm gonna look forward to it.
I was just watching it the other day. So these guys, okay, this is a team called Turtle Troop. They play in the North American Challenger League, and they have already defeated teams like G2. So yeah, that's quite a big deal. XQC's team is also doing some great stuff in the North American Challenger League.
Ooh, well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little call from the producer. It seems like the tech pause is going to be extending for a while. So before that, we're going to push to a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back anytime.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic. Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real,
came off the bench. I get it in.
And we're back once again, ladies and gentlemen, inside PCSA, and we're directly going to be going inside the round. VLT is quickly inside the side. Hoax is all the way under heaven. Gets caught instantly by Excali. That's a great flash and a peek. The teamwork's looking pretty phenomenal so far from the side of VLT. There's a flank coming in from Ember. Is he going to be able to catch it? No! Ember makes a couple of shots, but eventually finds one.
And here's the flank. Ember has finally arrived. The Paranoia hits 2. He's about to get inside. The chat dashes in. Now goes for cover. And here comes Doma. He's praised them both down. What a madman. Denied.
VLT. At the start, it seemed like things are a little shaky from the side of VLT. Quite a scrappy round, to be honest. And later on, again, the rotation wasn't exactly on point. Tix got caught over here. Oh boy, Tix was in quite an awkward situation. Ember, I don't exactly know how was Ember not caught, but still, Ember was able to shut down the player. But unfortunately, as soon as he moved inside the site, a lot of problems started to occur. So yeah, nothing much could be done. Let's go inside the fourth round now. It's a 3-0 scoreline in which VLT clearly do have the advantage. And God's Reign, they aren't able to find any sort of kryptonite so far against VLT. Every single time in attacking side, VLT are able to take those sites. They're able to smoothly glide in the sites, and God's Reign, they're just having huge question marks on their faces.
Yeah, but for now, the utility has been changed. The start has been placed towards Garage and towards the B side in the previous round. And it seems like God's Reign have the right idea. They've reinforced the right parts of the map, but still they're aware that VLT are just knocking on the doors. They have no intention of going inside. Oof! What a banger from Vapor! Blows off Deathmaker's skull.
They need to hit those type of shots if they want to get a round in the hands. Vapor's being quite a mechanically skilled player. Nothing taken away from that. Look at Autumn, the amount of presence, the amount of patience this man's showing. It's crazy. He hasn't moved a single inch, a single muscle. He's just been sitting over there. God's Reign, they're expected on the A site. Nice stun followed up too.
30 seconds left.
They're starting to fall back a little bit, but unfortunately Hoax is going to work a couple of shots, but HellFF2 is not even quite. He misses some shots too. Trades happening back and forth, and eventually VLT will get the side in the hand, but they have no clue that there's a man waiting still on A short area. Autumn retrieves the Phantom, and this is going to be way too deadly for the side of VLT. They've got no clue. They're still a man in short, and he finds one, catches one. 60 HP in the hands of Autumn. One more to go. Echoes is under heaven.
But now he's been sent up to heaven. He's been killed, assassinated. This was a good adjustment from God's Reign. They had basically nothing to work this round with, but they still gave out such a good result. As soon as that Rolling Thunder went through, they knew that they were on a timer. Velocity needed to get a couple of kills in order to neutralize the situation. Otherwise, they were aware of the fact that there is at least one backstab. They just weren't sure whether it's towards short or long. Autumn came at the right time. They were aware about his presence towards the backlines, and that's exactly why they needed to push in towards the defender's spawn. If they wouldn't, then they had no space to play the retake from, and they just needed to get a couple of kills before they went for the plant. Good attempt, but God's Reign were a step ahead.
Here.
Interesting position Autumn's found himself in. Just wait for someone to be directly in his crosshair. Oh, being forced off that spot. Nice flash to follow it up. It's a quick hit on the C site. Every single player will fall back. VLT, nice adaptation coming in from them. They realize the fact that now GDR is going to have a lot of money in the hands, so we might as well try to hit the site quickly, and they exactly did so. Nice execute on the B site. Nice execute on the C site, my bad.
You should run.
Still one player on the back side, though. Deathmaker's available. Lockdown utilized perfectly. The Deathmaker's position's compromised because this is the only spot that's left uncovered by the lockdown.
Yep, he's got plenty of backup. I'm surprised he survived this long. And he was a lockdown. But he popped their heads off. He was set up for this. Destiny awaited him. It's the pot of gold under the rainbow, man. And it was pointed directly at him. His position uncovered. And man, these guys, they got destroyed. Despite knowing where he was.
Yeah, that's just... So they basically thought that, okay, we've spanned the box. Now there's going to be no one behind the box, and then they didn't expect that Deathmaker is still going to be alive there. Still, I feel like someone should have been there just looking at that side, but a little unawareness, lack of awareness just cost him the entire round.
Ooh, Deathmaker once again. It seems like the momentum from the previous round has been carried forward. And of course, when you get a couple of shots like that, you are going to be soaring through the roof. You feel like you're the king of the world. And as soon as he makes contact, easily falls back. I mean, it's not like God's Reign had much to fight with in the first place. One Vandal in the hands of Tix, the rest of them on eco weapons. So yes, the skill itself doesn't give you all that much, but it can give you so much comfort. Also, you can now chill and play together. They know that GDR will have to spread their defenses thin, but they know that Ember is this far. Opportunity missed, and Excali gets that kill.
That shot could have been quite crucial, but he whiffs that. But it's complete fine. Still an eco round from the side of God's Reign. They've got a Blade Storm popped, so Autumn's going to be having a lot of eyes onto himself. He needs to get a lot of value from that. He needs to at least take a couple of guns down. His job is to put a dent on the opponent's economy. I mean, yeah, VLT, they still have a lot of money left, but maybe just try to make a little bit of impact inside this round. But VLT,
30 seconds left.
Glide on the seaside, no one's going to be able to
planted.
stop them. Also get the spike planted. So that means now they're just going to be playing safe and sound in the post.
Well, it's been destroyed, so they don't know exactly where that maker is, but
One
now
enemy
he
remaining.
reveals himself.
Flawless.
My god, is this guy on a farming simulator or what? He is just picking up frags left, right, and center. It's almost like it's effortless.
What's going on here? Did Eccles call for a timeout? It seemed like that.
Probably.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trying to call for a timeout, but let's see what's going to be the upcoming status. But a good thing for God's Reign is that they've got a lot of ultimates available now. From the Shadows, Hunter's Fury, Lockdown, also Rolling Thunder. Easily retakeable abilities.
Yeah. You know what else is easy? Just taking that site. That execute from Velocity was so silky smooth. Smoother than an I-20. And it was faster than it too. They just dashed inside. There was so much utility thrown at once. So basically, if anyone's standing on the seaside, they get obliterated by not only the Astra's gravity belt, but there was a nanoswarm inside that gravity belt. And the jet dashes in. This everything except the kitchen sink. But Autumn, he throws his life away. Hellfighter gets that kill, but hey, it's not that big of a deal yet. Velocity, they can still make their way inside, and this orb is actually recoverable. Vibor just needs a little bit of help from the Astra, and that start is probably placed there to get a smoke in hands and then retrieve the orb.
Orb's retrievable, but I'm still a little worried for God's Reign. That's not a start you want to have. I understand Autumn wanted to give a early head start for the entire team, but unfortunately was not able to do so. Gets caught himself. Now it's a 4-on-5 situation in which VLT have a clear advantage, and VLT once again just out-aiming every single person on the site. Deathmaker's always the one to make a march in the site. No one's able to catch this man. He's just like on a soap, just gliding in the site. Hellafef in the back. It's all down to Hoax and Ember. But what are these two men going to be able to pull off? Has to be a save, right?
Probably yes. Man, God's Reign had everything they needed to win this round. Even after the death of Autumn, they were still in a position to make the hold work. There were still two people on the H side. They could have held from the back. But what happened was that Flash out! Velocity Gaming just took a shot really, really quickly. And they got fights at different timings. They were able to isolate them and then exterminate them.
Oh boy. Not looking good for God's Reign. VLT, they're always just stealing these sites away like it's nothing. Things are now getting quite problematic. And look at him. Raka Zone is over there too. Let's go. Every single member from the side of VLT, known members over there. It's always a pleasure to have them.
They're rooting for their teams. They're flown in from Mumbai, settled up in Delhi. It's a pity that we can't be where they are. We're gonna have to cast from home, but hey, I'm sure we'll beat them if we have. early start from God's Reign. They take control of A lobby by placing a dark cupboard over there. I mean, Velocity Gaming were challenging this area quite often, but they are more than happy to explore other avenues, and that this is the first time Velocity Gaming are hitting the B side, by the way. Dash up, on with the smoke, use... Okay, yeah, never mind. They're not going to push through. God's Reign holds back, and Velocity Gaming get freed on the side.
You want to fight it?
There's no follow-up, unfortunately. Velocity Gaming can still continue to block. They even posted a natural cover for it, but the flank has been caught.
Doma.
Oh, Excali's so aware.
Yep, Doma too. They've got two players just waiting for the flank. They knew. They just snuffed it out. Read them like a book. BLT, they're just making the players of God Reign fly up till now. But what a shot
enemy
kicks!
remaining.
Oh
Strike
boy,
down
these two
A.
players are the playmakers, that's for sure. And now it's all down to Deathmaker to try and put a full stop to all the menace the players of God's Reign have caused. Deathmaker
30 seconds
making
left.
his presence inside the site, making the entry in the site. Doesn't exactly know where the opponents are. Too many angles to check. Finding the demons inside the head too. Deathmaker making his move slowly and steadily. Whiffs the shots and Hoax will capitalize. And finally another round on the board for God's Reign. This might just be the streak breaker.
Yes, this definitely would be. And I was so concerned for a second. God's Reign unleashed the Rolling Thunder, but they did not follow up on the back of it. It was also quite a really smart move from Hellfighter to place that Astral Divide over there, use his ultimate to make sure that nobody can get shot. And that probably prevented the follow-up from God's Reign after they used the Rolling Thunder. But what it did do is push Velocity Gaming off the B side and send them into A, where God's Reign were prepared for them.
Hold up. Let him cook. And he does. Autumn finds one. Going for the second one, too. I'm going to just let him cook up till now. Was able to find the opening. Finally, Autumn's able to have some success, some impact with the op. Nice read from the side of Autumn. Knew it might just be a quick hit on the C. And now VLT, they'll need a reroute once again. But they're expected on the A side. I love the position that Embers found himself in. Embers got quite an impactful position. If he managed to catch even one more, things could be different. He does manage to find one. A nice paranoia to make an escape. Falls back instantly. Deathmaker's taken down to 10 HP. Now he's not going to be able to find any sort of impact anymore. Takes able to outweigh Doma. Doma falls down. Oh, this matchup's getting intense and interesting. Every single moment's being passed by. Every single round's being counted. 6-2 is the scoreline, and as I said, this might just be a streak breaker, and so far it seems like it. B-side's gonna be the plant here. Deathmaker just catches in the sight. Pretty much this is gonna be the suicide play for him.
Enemy remaining.
He's gonna be sacrificed for that play to God's Reign. A flawless round. Easily able to counter that.
I'm starting to see a pattern develop over here. God's Reign somehow manipulate Velocity Gaming into coming where they are prepared for them. Let's take this one for an example. God's Reign, they were playing aggressively towards the A-short region. You had Ember positioned over there, took some fights, and it kind of repelled Velocity Gaming away from the A site. And this is not the first time he's made that play. But what it did was push Velocity towards the B side, and we've already known that Velocity don't have the firepower over here. They failed before. That was partially because of the Rolling Thunder, but this time they managed to do it without it. And that just shows that God's Reign have the B side as a stronghold. Velocity need to do something else. And it seems like they're going to be hitting the C side again. Historically, C has been weak, but this time Ember is back. He's not playing on A-shot anymore. Maybe this repositioning can be beneficial for Velocity? Let's see if they can exploit it.
The only way to execute the C side is for a quick take, and that's what they're going to do once again. Rolling Thunder to follow it up. And yeah, the C side's easily being given away. BLT, they've got the control on the C side. Now all it's going to come down is the disciplined play. Nice Hunter's Fury to stop the plant. He was successfully able to stop the plant too. Finds a take on the other one. The Hunter's Fury are good. Even the counter Hunter's Fury comes in. But unfortunately, nothing was found from that, so Excali falls down again. Now it's a 2-on-5 situation. God's Reign. Dudes are just so perfect. Oh, one player was waiting, but he only finds one.
God's Reign had such a good read on this one. They willingly gave up the C side. They knew that Velocity won't be able to plan that. And Autumn is already present to intercept. God's Reign are definitely getting the read on Velocity now. They are always a step ahead in the last few rounds. they were more than comfortable giving it up because they were aware that the lockdown plus the Hunter's Fury would be more than enough to get the planter away. They were also aware that there would be a counter Hunter's Fury from Velocity. They did not care about it at all. They were just happy that they had to invest the other Hunter's Fury so it can't be used somewhere else. And then the predictable move. Where does Velocity go? Rushing towards the A site.
Still, though, a valiant effort. And again, how things are looking like for now is that Velocity, definitely the flow, the momentum's being broken. And there might just be a lot of question marks now on their faces. On the other hand, as we did talk about God's Reign, how they're able to read perfectly, look into what exactly VLT are trying to do all the time. I mean, yeah, VLT, if nothing else is working out, there was just hitting the C site. A quick C hit was there. But now this time they had a Hunter's Fury available that they utilized to stop the plant. So everything's just done so nicely, well calculated.
It's not just the moves that are calculated, even the economy is. God's Reign are rich now. They looked like they were having difficulty at the start. Velocity was dominating them 1-5. And now God's Reign have almost caught up. If they beat Velocity in this round again, they will be broke. Reduction, keeping Velocity at bay once again. As usual, this has been quite successful from God's Reign. Look at the positioning from Autumn this time. He's open to its garage instead. And that definitely means that if Velocity fall back, he will be there to intercept once again. Oh, doesn't really spot anyone, but Velocity will head him regardless.
Yeah, Domo's watching the flank. He's got the turret too, but they really do want to just enter inside the A site. They're not even find the entry because God's Reign were just able to out aim Deathmaker. Deathmaker falls down. That was the entry card right there. And as Deathmaker's taken down.
It's like looking into a mirror.
Yeah.
They have wasted so much time. God's Reign have burnt out the utility of Velocity, and at that point, Velocity and God's Reign both were just throwing stuff at each other. It's like kids in a food party slinging hot dogs at each other. That's what they were like. And because of that, Velocity Gaming have lost so much time. They're hoping that they will cut sound, let God's Reign assume that they've fallen back, but God's Reign are not fighting this way. They are fully prepared for this one to be hit yet again. And here they go into the trap. Look at this, they're not even allowed inside. The stun stops them in their tracks.
But now it's all going to come down to the individual skills. Echoes is able to out-aim too. Is he going to be able to out-aim the other people or not? Doma finds Vibor. Nice take on Vibor. Now it's a 2-on-3.
Spike planted.
In the blink of an eye, they've got the advantage. It seemed like this round could have been in the hands of God's Reign, but unfortunately, they just got straight up outskilled. Out-aimed, I would say. Autumn with the op, trying to make the difference. He knows someone has to be under pass. Or under heaven, my bad.
Last player standing.
Oh, Autumn gets caught, and Eccles is such a huge impact maker in that round. Saves the day for his team.
Sheesh. It actually does work out. Eccles, the captain, steps up. That was a very difficult call for him in that situation. The initial wave of utility that Velocity had charged up, it was completely stopped in the tracks by God's Reign. They also just burned down time and quite literally burned the floor. Killjoy, mollies, everything you throw at them was used. And then it was a very difficult call for Eccles to make, to not go anywhere else instead, but stick to its A, cut the sound, and just wait for it to cook. He let the Brock simmer a little too long and it blew up in God's Reign faces.
I mean, we all know one thing is that Eccles, he was making it look so easy. Even in the webcam, as you guys saw in his camera feed, he was like, just too easy for me, guys. I don't know what they're doing. Autumn catches one clip off guard once again. Vibor minus 2 up. And VLT Deathmaker's able to stop him, but at what cost? Loses out on 2 of his teammates. All by himself with a Blade Storm in the hand and a Phantom to back it up, but oh my god, the amount of impact this man needs to find is going to be so crazy. He does have the Blade Storm, but he needs to focus Autumn, the another man, and yeah, Tix will just put a full stop onto that story right there. Another round in the hands of God's Reign. Finally, they're able to make a comeback here.
Yeah, and all this time I was saying that God's Reign have the right read and they know and blah blah blah, but it's not just that, it's also moments like these. What on earth was that from Webho? I mean, it's not like Velocity did anything wrong. They double peaked him, the spacing was also adequate, it's not like they were lined up or whatever, but these guys got mowed down.
Alright guys, we'll see you guys on the other side of this break. Don't exactly know what the reason.
Came for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the wings, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Came for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the wings, I get it in.
Alright, once again, welcome back, guys. Seems like there are a little bit issues going on the stage, but don't exactly know what the issues are for. But Crips, we're finally back once again, and now it's going to be on the second half. As we do have the second half in front of us, and now in the second half, things are going to start to kick off. And we want to see, I mean, God's Reign, they were able to creep and crawl up slowly and steadily. Let's see what's going to happen now, because a nice stun followed up. A quick and aggressive start from VLT. They were able to find two, even a third one, and VLT, they found themselves a nice advantage right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, Velocity Gaming were definitely on the prowl over there, but God's Reign, they expected that they'll find a kill or two. They didn't expect to see the whole goddamn Velocity team over there. And like the moment that Autumn dashed in, it was disastrous. He knew that there was death flashing before his eyes. Now, the situation has been neutralized. 3v3 up. They made early contact on C. Velocity Gaming still quite slow. God's Reign, as they move back the spike towards the A site, it is kind of predictable for Velocity Gaming. You can see that Doma is already moving towards that region. He's still maybe assuming that they'll be towards B or Garage, but he's got his utility placed on the A site, so he covers it. He's just outside the range of his util. But the read on Velocity Gaming is perfect. There is a slight
30
issue.
seconds
Don't
left.
get confused by that. It shows that God's Reign are defenders, but they're actually on the attacking side, so don't mind that. We'll get that fixed in a second, but here we go. They're ready to approach the B side. Doma prepared. Hold on, but the stun is perfect! What on earth are these clips, man?
How? VLT all the time. Just able to utilize the breach so perfectly. And this just shows the true potential of a breach player. The true potential of breach. The stun and the flash and the dash was just so perfect. We're able to find early orange and then over too. Another stun on the B main, and everyone's just stunned out. Nothing could be done in that scenario from those players. VLT, just so crisp and calculated. And the execution's perfect.
He's cooking it again.
Blocking sight.
Weak on that. This is This is dead, but Autumn still makes to get killed. Hellfighter though.
enemy
He
remaining.
steps up to help out. And my goodness, even Doma doubles up.
Yeah.
God's Reign got destroyed.
I mean, so far it does seem like God's Reign are not
coming
able
back.
to stand a single chance, especially in the second half. They got shut down pretty well in the pistol round. The attacking half is looking kind of rough onto them. 8 rounds already in the hands of VLT. Maybe this might just be the 9th one if the war's not able to do anything. And yeah, Doma will shut him down too. Doma with the 3K. Perfectly done.
Well, at least it shows that Velocity Gaming also are not in aggression. I mean, even when Godlike were on the defending side,
One
they
enemy
had that
remaining.
aggression in forms of taking space slowly and creeping up as a unit together. They never really sent one
Placing
person
sentry.
ahead. I mean, Autumn never really made those super brave dashes where he was out of range of his teammates for trading. But Deathmaker, yes, he does that. Of course, he's got the backup of the Bugle, but you can't really trade him out that far down too long.
Yeah. For now, God's Reign, they're trying to make a little change in the play pace. They try to get a little aggressive,
Enemy
but what a
kill.
recon tard! But it's not going to make any difference. No matter what, Deathmaker's aim is just on point, but this time Autumn, they're trying to make it count.
Spike down A.
Back to Autumn with
Last
a 3K,
player standing.
followed up with a 4. Is he gonna get the ace? Autumn, 94 HP in hand. This man is looking like a monster, a beast unleashed so far. Doma is the last wall to crack through. He dashes in the sight. Autumn will
One
get the
enemy
5K
remaining.
or not. No, shut down. Doma puts a full stop to that story. No ace for Autumn.
Sheesh! Autumn stepped up like the savior. My goodness. So, this was a lovely opportunity found by Hellfighter. As soon as there was aggression taken on A long, Hellfighter stayed really quiet and there was a smoke against him, so it's not like he had the advantage pushing out, but he found the timing right. He got so much damage done. It just happened that Autumn was the first one to intercept him. If it wasn't for him, then probably the entirety of God's Reign would have been wiped out. And Autumn always at the right time, at the right place to trade out. Yes, he couldn't save all of his teammates, but man, he got this round so close.
6-9's the scoreline, and finally God's Reign were able to make an impact on the second half.
Deploying
High
drone.
round secure. Vandals and Phantoms in play on the both sides. This round's going to be quite a crucial one. Excali was in the front. Oh, looking to hand out some haircuts, but HellFF this time stops it. Still remember, last year, Ember used to be one of the most mechanically skilled controllers in India. This time, Ember, I mean, yeah, he's definitely having some moments, but not as impactful as he was last year.
Recalling my bot.
Well, Velocity Gaming in no position to contest the ace site. And it looks like they are giving it up willingly. They know for a fact that God's Reign is not present towards either C or B. But considering that they have the man advantage, it makes sense that they play passively. They already have what they want. They don't need to take any unnecessary fights. So that's why they're giving up this land.
Spike
And now that they
planted.
hear the plant, they are ready for this retake. They have all the util required. They even have the lockdown.
Noah's on the lurk from God's Reign. So that might just be a good thing for VLT. A nice stun to follow it up. Autumn could have almost been stunned out. They're just dumping utilities on the A side, hoping that VLT will be able to find that opening they're looking for. Now every single
Last
piece of
player
utility
standing.
utilized inside this retake, and VLT able to glide in the sight. First man's
Got
knocked.
one.
The second
My
man
ultimate
goes
is
down as
ready.
well. Vabor's able to find two. The third one is found as well.
One
Runs out of
enemy
bullets in the
remaining.
magazine. The classic's out too, but no. Excali sticks to defuse, and VLT. Oh, they saves it. They save it just by a little nick. But oh my god. Vabor, did he step up?
Oh, he
Last
did.
player
The odds
standing.
were heavily stacked against him, and he made it look so stylish. At
Got
one
one.
point,
My
we were all
ultimate is
rooting for him, but statistically, it was almost impossible to
One
stop
enemy
every
remaining.
single defender, and then the defuse as well. My god. But he still almost got it work. Almost got it to work. So
Lucky
hats
sight.
off to him. This time, Autumn looking to be the hero once again. There's Nanoswarm on the way, but the barrage of flashes will help him in. But he gets done, so this puts a stop to his
One
momentum.
enemy
And Hellfighter finally puts him in his
Flawless.
grave.
Oh my God.
My goodness! It's not just him. Everybody's been buried. This might just be the fastest round in the league so far.
That was just so quick, yeah. So quick. And Eccles, again, once again, he's just shaking his head. He's like, what are they doing? I don't understand. Look at him. Oh my god, with the help of HellFF, Eccles just laying those bodies, just stacked them up on top of each other. Eccles is making it look too easy. VLT on 11, God's Reign only on 6 rounds so far. But they have been able to showcase their caliber. We know what they're capable of. Maybe just because of this map, God's Reign isn't really able to showcase the full potential. You can expect a little different outcome on the second lap. And oh, Autumn knew there's someone behind the box.
Autumn is so glad that he did not get caught in that gravity well because there was a canister and a shot dart on top of it. The Hunter's Fury doesn't really find much, but it's just a good insurance policy to make sure that you can lap up the bits that you have already softened up. But wait, God's Rain are still cooking. They're still waiting over here. Patient as ever.
Yep.
If they try to make a move towards the A side, then they have Deathmaker marking the angle, so he will spot them first. There's also Killjoy Util marking the C-long region, so even Velocity are aware about where God's Rain is. At this point, it just becomes a battle of who breaks this patience first. The rotations from Velocity already on the way. I wonder if God's Rain can hear this. If they probably can, then they will have made up their mind to go B instead.
I love this idea. I love this choice. They're just gonna straight up go inside the B site. B site's completely clear, just waiting for them. Lockdown utilized too to secure the B side
30
in the
seconds
hands.
left.
And also buy
And
a
it's
little
so
bit of more
deep.
time. And look at Tix. Oh, he's not
Revealing
expected
end.
here. Good recon dart followed up, and now he knows there's another man close. And look at Autumn. He's just so aggressive.
Yeah, and he's holding back Deathmaker. He just cannot be reunited with his teammates, and even the other two on the other side, Doma and Eccles, they can't make a move on him. They try regardless, but they will be stuck by their paw.
Last player standing.
On a swivel, the aftershock won't clear them out, but it will at least draw him into the crosshairs of Eccles. But now all alone, what can he possibly do? The weight of the world on the shoulders of this captain. He's very capable, but he's also very low on HP and time. It's already ticked away, and Autumn finally puts him in his grave.
Nice one. Good round from the side of Autumn, to be honest. The way he got the entry on the site, instantly went really aggressive. And again, to say that's some controlled aggression from the side of Autumn. He knows his duties. As a duelist, you're supposed to enter inside the side and also give the opening crack to your team. And he's doing it so far pretty well. And this was a nice little pre-fire from Eccles. Good read coming out. He knew that it's going to be flushed out, so a nice little pre-fire to catch him. And Vibor stood no chance against that, but it's complete fine. God's Rain, they got another round in the pocket. Now they cannot afford to give any single round anymore to BLT. If they give even one more round away, it's going to be match point.
They definitely can't afford that. At this point, they can't even afford weapons. God's Rain at one point, their economy was climbing, but now it's just starting to work. They still have weapons for one last buy. But Velocity Gaming, they look somewhat stable. Drones utilized, and Skelly will find, and the rolling gun is already there. At this point, God's Rain are in survival mode. They're being hounded by Velocity from every direction, but Autumn and Vibor step up. They are the bodyguards of their stunned up teammates.
No match.
Look at this. VLT, they've got a huge disadvantage, but Eccles was able to follow it up with one, but they still have one man disadvantage. Shock darts, a nice little recon darts followed up, but Eccles, the timing was nice, but he gets caught by Hoax. Was stunned up too, Deathmaker stuck. He cannot do anything. He's gonna rely on a no-scope here. He has to go for it, but Tix,
One enemy
he
remaining.
cuts him off before he even could do anything. HellFF just lines two up. A nice little impact frag coming out from HellFF. Now it's down to a one-on-one situation. The HP advantage favors Hoax, and Hoax will clean it up.
I swear to God, dude, there's so many moments in this game from every single team. On both the sides, so many moments where people line up, where everybody gets a multi-kill. It's also stylish. It seems like this match is just clip
One
after
enemy
clip after
remaining.
clip.
One enemy remaining. Spike plant.
Impressive plays from both the sides, to be honest. Both these teams are really just fighting with
Scanning ahead.
everything they've got in the bag. Every single piece of utility. Every single thing they're giving it inside this competition. Now, of course, one thing you know is that BLT, this is their eco round. See you, Deathmaker. Try to make a push. They try to be aggressive on their eco. But God's Rain, they're expecting this aggression.
Yeah, and it's not like Velocity Gaming are gonna stop.
Yeah.
Continue to push even a shot. They find nobody over there, but they're aware that at least somebody will be defaulting, because they can't see any other progress from God's Rain either. And God's Rain too, they are completely justified in playing this slowly. They never know where Velocity Gaming will have set up a trap for them, where there will be a stack. So they're taking their sweet time to clear things off.
I have
And
the
they're
spike.
also aware that Tix has his recon dot, so as soon as they're about to execute, that's when they will use it. Probably along with all their other utility. Now the focus is on, so it's difficult, a little difficult to get inside. Lovely stuff by Adobe. Hellfighter. He's back in a position to fight, but finally neutralized. It was about time.
Eccles on the flank. Might just be back in business.
Last player
Finds
standing.
one. Eccles follows it up with another one. Now the advantage shifted in the favor of VLT. But they decide to fall back.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a nice little mind game coming out from their side. Emperor doesn't know where they are. And oh my god, this
10
is such a
seconds left.
great read. Oh, 200 IQ plays from VLT. They knew this was going to happen. VLT, what a read.
That's what happens when Eccles gets inside your brain. He is not difficult to get a hold of. This man will bury himself deep inside your brain and then force you to make mistakes, which he is then prepared to punish.
Oh my god.
At one point, God's Ring could see through the Matrix. They almost chose the red pill. But unfortunately, that too was an illusion, and Velocity plunged them back into the darkness. Now with the
So
match
good.
point.
So good. Just read him like a book. I mean, yeah, that is a textbook strategy. When you've got From the Shadows available, just try to ult on the other side, teleport on the other side. Easily read. Oh my god. But still, to think of that in the last moment, especially when you're in such a heat of a scenario, when you knew you had the gun's disadvantage, you were pretty much on an eco, and still your brain's going that quick. It's just impressive. And this is what we were talking about in the pre-game segment too. The experience, the caliber these two players bring inside the India region. It's going to be crazy. And this is just the start, baby.
Just the start. It's quite impressive how not only do Velocity have the good read, but they are more than patient to just wait it out. They are more than comfortable giving up these sites after they get that man advantage. And they knew that God's Reign have only limited choices. So even when Velocity give up a certain side and let God's Reign take it, the man advantage that they acquired in the early round is more than comfortable enough to carry them through. This time God's Reign try to make a contact play towards the B side. No utility used just yet. But of course the turret will ring as soon as someone pops.
It's about a 9-up Mana Swarm available. It pops as well. Nice little recon dart. You know where exactly Scally is. What's the first shot? The second shot's whipped as well. Shorty right in the face. And oh, the Shorty isn't able to find the kills. And this is why I never like to rely on the Shorty. Sometimes it connects and sometimes it just isn't in your favor.
But this is a good crossfire from God's Reign. They've got the human towards Gong. Takes holding super close. Nobody's marking the viewing angle, but that's by design. They want to play on this side of the box. And at that point, Velocity Gaming have no choice but to enter alongside. But God's Reign still very patient on the edge of the smoke. As soon as it's fair, Hellfighter will pop out. Pokes and Ticks just bury them alive. Deathmaker left with now no choice on the inside, but Excalibur takes a risky shot and he connects it. All of a sudden the tide is turned and Vibor has to rely on the nanoswarm to delay as much as possible. But his aim is more than sharp enough.
Vibor, the patience paying out for this man. I don't know if you noticed, but the entire round, he was sitting on the attacker spawn. He was just waiting for that flank to come in. He didn't move a single muscle. And then in the end, he realized that his teammates are falling apart. That's when he started to move towards the window. And he also sealed the deal for his team.
Player standing.
The patience from this man, the discipline he's showing.
One enemy remaining.
It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then in the end, just aims on the head and just clicks with the burst of the Bulldog. And shuts down the man. Now again, VLT in a really awkward economical spot. They've only got one Vandal in the hand of Excali. He's got the Hunter's being available. But look at the enemies. And God's Reign, easy read from their side. Easy there, soldiers. Because you guys are just
Last
stacking
player standing.
VLT on top of each other.
Blocking sight.
Yeah, like a mass grave. And finally,
Yeah.
Autumn dashes in to finish what he started.
Long.
It doesn't even need to happen. God's Reign destroying VLT, and this was such a well-orchestrated round. There was absolutely nowhere for them to go. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. You've got them cornered with the stun, even the aftershock thrown in for good measure, and if all that wasn't enough, there's 5 people peeking you all at once. But that also shows that BLT in their eco rounds, they're more than willing to gamble stack, and sometimes they get the gamble right. In fact, not even sometimes. On most occasions, they get it right. And that's exactly why God's Reign has been having so much difficulty trying to get inside these sites. But once they get the plant down, then God's Reign are supreme. So there you have it, folks. The weaknesses and strengths. Velocity very good at holding them back, but if the plant does go down, then
Pulling them in.
Yeah, the retakes are a little scrappy from the side of VLT. I'd agree with that. Still, though, VLT, they've got the odds stacked with them. They've got a Rolling Thunder and even a Hunter's Fury available. And all they need is one round in the hand. And they've also got a lockdown. It should be easy for a retake, considering you've got 3 retakeable abilities that you can utilize to also get info.
It's the same are available on the other side as well. First Rolling Thunder committed, Velocity more than happy to hang back. They'll try to shock out the planter as soon as they get South Cube. A little bit of damage done, but nothing lethal yet. And now look, both the Killjoys are reluctant to start their lockdowns because there's a Hunter Fury present on either side. It's a game of chicken.
You should run. Initiated.
Lockdown comes in. Still, they've got the Hunter's Fury available. Counter Hunter's Fury is out from both the sides. Try to take care of the lockdowns. And Emperor is just waiting in the corner, greeting every single player, welcoming them in the side. Deathmaker tries his best to put a stop. But Excali and Vapor are going to be the last 2 goats alive. Which one is going to stand out tall? That's what we're here to find. The Kate spotted. A nice little swamp grenade activated as well. The Nano Swarms are going to be so annoying now for Excali. He hasn't really got a lot of health to back him up. And also the time's ticking away. Vapor, he's a sneaky little man. And God's Reign, they secure another round.
He's so cool, so calm and collected. That post-plant position, like I said, God's Reign had it in the bag. And it's funny how Vibor had not even planted his Nano Swarms at the start of the plant. He then placed them over there later. He saved one just in case something goes wrong. And both the teams knew that every move is going to be matched with the equal reaction. One lockdown is placed, the other one's also placed. The first over uses the Hunter's Fury, so does the other. The only other differentiating factor was the Rolling Thunder, but then again, that also did not have as much impact because the Crossfire was more than strong. This post-plant position from God's Reign has been very consistent. They are able to replicate this on every single site. And I don't know, man, at one point Velocity did look strong. They felt they were comfortable, but now God's Reign are on the verge of making a comeback. Do you think it's possible?
I definitely think it's possible, but I'm a little scared, a little skeptical about this tactical timeout. I'm really suspicious what sort of a little new strategy they're able to come up with from their arsenal, because look, VLT, they know all they need is one more round to secure this one. And so far, I mean, they have pretty much made the comeback. What, we started the second half with what, like 6 and 11, if I'm not wrong? What was that? I don't exactly remember. I think so. The score was 6 and 11. And that's where they started making the comeback all the way towards now 11 to 12. So God's Reign, you gotta give it to them. They have tried really hard. They have worked really hard for this comeback. They really do want to
nice.
Spike down. Attackers
he finds one. He gets the second one too. He might just be the difference maker here.
And he's
found 2.
He didn't just kill 2, he spotted everyone else as well. The recon dart reveals 1, Deathmaker spotted the other. God's Reign know the positions of almost every single player. Only the breach was not spotted, but then again, it's quite easy to figure it out if you add 1+1. And Velocity Gaming now hanging back. The weight of this match hangs in the balance as Velocity are more than comfortable chilling. They're just waiting for the util in hand as soon as God's Reign will even try to step inside the C side. All of this utility, the flashes, the shock darts, everything will be thrown at them. And God's Reign now have a difficult decision to make. Do they go towards the garage region where they haven't found success in the past? Or do they go towards B where they know they can be good, but the setup of the Killjoy has changed? So that's one piece of information they don't have.
The previous round was quite an expensive round, you gotta say that.
One enemy remaining.
For the opponent too, Deathmaker, how? He's gonna go for the ace, got a 4K in the hand. Deathmaker is a wolf that is hungry, he's looking for the ace, he's searching for every single victim, but in the end, Hoax puts a full stop. But it doesn't matter, Deathmaker was the difference maker in that round. And he saves the day for his team. He says that no, it doesn't matter even if you guys got the comeback done, we're still gonna stop you guys no matter what.
I feel like this was the best match that we will get to see in South Asian Valorant for a very long time. Not only was it full of these amazing moments of pure raw carnage, just lethal violence, so many cool frags. Not only did it have all of that, but the mind battle between Velocity and their counterparts was also so intense. Every time Velocity took a step ahead, God's Reign caught up to it, and then Velocity tried to re-counter that, and it just kept building on top of each other, layer upon layer.
I gotta say, I mean, at the start, VLT had a really impactful start, but then later on, the Alligators of God's Reign started munching away, and it looked like it was really impossible to stop them in their tracks, but in the end, Deathmaker took charges in his hands, and I think so that's what was discussed in the tactical timeout too, that Deathmaker, you got a Blade Storm available, just go and unleash yourself.
Yeah, and not only was he unleashing himself with the backup of Eccles' flashes and everything, this is what he did in the start of the second half, right? He was diving in alone. This was quite a different playstyle as compared to Autumn, because Autumn was never on the defensive side diving too deep, not in the position where he couldn't be traded, but Deathmaker was more than comfortable doing that. Of course, he had util backup, but nothing to trade. So that's one primary difference between the two of them. But you know what is similar? Both of them kick so much ass. My goodness, these guys are demons.
Exactly. I gotta say, these two guys were the superheroes for their team. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. It's gonna be time for us to push to a short break, but we'll be right back after this break.
Came for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
Feeling under pressure. Feeling under Feeling under pressure.
destiny. I know my destiny. Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Valorant Challenger South Asia, and we're gonna jump straight in to the agent select off the second map. We know the second map's gonna be Pearl, so this is gonna be quite an interesting map too. But Crips, welcome back, my man. What are your thoughts on Pearl?
Ooh, this one's gonna be spicy. They both have mirror compositions. We had Eccles playing Breach in the last game. He's now on the KO. Tix was in Sova, now on Fade. And with both the teams having similar lineups, it will make things very, very interesting. Because even the first game of Haven, even though the compositions were not 100% mirrored, at least their tactics were going head to head. They both were keeping up with each other. So every time Velocity innovate, let's say on Haven, if they, for example, they start playing aggressively on A, then God's Reign are always prepared in anticipation. They hold the crossfires accordingly. And the same can be said for the other side. So they were both adapting to each other really well in the previous map. And Pearl offers so many more interesting dynamics when it comes to mid-fighting. I think that will just elevate the brain game in this map to a whole new level.
Only time will tell what exactly is cooking up in these players' minds. But the previous map was quite close. Gotta say, God's Reign, they did not fall back. Yeah, they had a little bit of weak start at the start, but then later on, the way they caught the pace in the second half, oh boy. They definitely gave VLT a run for the money here. But one thing's for sure, that every single viewer in the chat is being entertained right now with the competition, with the caliber these two teams are bringing up. And as I said, it's just the start for the VCSA, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got more matches just like this stacked up for you guys in the future and the upcoming days. But I like his watch.
I'm actually surprised that he's wearing his watch, but I, for one, just cannot have anything on my wrist whenever I'm playing. I need my wrists to be completely free. So
same.
Yeah, it's quite a cool decision by him, but you know what else is cooler? It's this stack by Velocity towards either end of the maps. There's nobody marking the B link for now, nobody marking double doors. They've got one alarm bot towards Art, and that's about it. The rest of Velocity are preparing to play this B side very aggressively. A few seconds. I think they'll wait a few seconds before they let out the KO knife. In fact, they won't do it at all. Tepnika makes a contact peek. And he still is able to fall back. It's surprising that Eccles could hold on to his 0 point for so long. No noise made on A either.
He found a dink onto Autumn, and that's quite crazy to me. He's already taken down to 24 HP. But it's completely fine. Look at the entire team's God's Reign. Now they're falling back to the A site. But A site, oh, it's completely set up. With the ASTER starts and everything. They've got the gravity well and the smoke activated as well to make the entry inside the site. The turret's taken care of, but Doma finds one. Every single player from the side of VLT now decides to fall back and let the site control be. God's Reign, they get the site control down and also the plant down, but at the cost of Autumn.
Yes, let's hope this man advantage is able to carry Velocity Gaming all the way through. They're funneling into Flopbot and Dugout. Smoke's holding them back for now, but Ember still waiting to peek, and he tries to take the timing, but instantly gets greeted by 4 players at once. Now Doma pressuring towards Odd, knowing that God's Reign will be holding these close down positions, and A-Long won't be as weak. He's able to predict where they are and then deal with them accordingly. So instead of playing towards the A-Long area first, they just smoke it off, knowing fully well that since the Astra has already peaked out, another person can't do the same thing. And hence Velocity Gaming just focus their attention towards Art first. And then they isolate the last man towards A-Long. Prioritizing fights is such a good strength of Velocity Gaming.
Turret out.
Velocity Gaming on an anti-eco. They've got the guns in their hands. Of course, a huge advantage. They can follow it up, but I always say this. The eco round is usually there to make a dent on the opponent's economy. If you do win the round, though, then it's like a little cherry on top of the cake, but usually you just try to make a little dent in the opponent's economy with the eco round. So that's what the Gods region players are going to try to do inside this one. A lot of players stacked on A, but they've got one player just lurking around in mid. It's going to be Vabor. Just waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Asin has the contacts taken on the A side. Every single player will follow it up with that one. Nice little piece of utilities utilized from both the sides.
Yeah.
And yeah, nothing much can be done. God's going to fall back.
Yeah, the nanoswarms and the smokes pushed them back from A-Long. And at that point, Vibor was hoping that somebody from Velocity would be rotating towards the A site and leaving B-Link a little vulnerable. He tried to take advantage of that timing, wasn't successful. Now once again, God's Reign going to the same place, and this time the 0 point detects most of them. Their plans discovered, but Autumn finds Eccles' head. Avenges the fact that he was able to get so much information and there's nothing Velocity can do to stop the front.
Spike planted.
Hellfighter doesn't even spam to stop it. It's just waiting for the rest of Velocity to accumulate. And as soon as they're here, they will all send in at once.
But this is really good eco round. They also got the plant down, so they've also got one body so far. There's a chance they might just follow it up with another one, and they exactly do so.
player
Hoax
standing.
also finds one. Autumn finds one.
One enemy remaining.
Now it's a 2-on-1 situation. Tix is the only man left alive. Make that a 1-on-1. Tix also retrieves a little bulldog in the hand. Deathmaker might just have a little competition, a challenge for himself, but Deathmaker shakes it off. Another round in the hands of VLT, but again, as I said, they've got a huge dent on VLT's eco.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly God's Reign adapted as well. In the previous round, Velocity Gaming came in once again, just like this time, from Flowerbot and Dugout, and then they started to fight towards the art area. This means that the A lane will be vulnerable, and God's Reign were now aware about this weakness because they did not see a single Velocity member come in from that region last time. And that's why you had Tix, who was able to go all the way around from water, sneak his way through spawn, and then come in for the backstab. But even after all that, he wasn't successful. It's good that Velocity discovered this flaw in their retakes now. It's good that they find the Tix, the play that Tix was able to make. It's good that they find it now than later on in the half, you know, when the economy is more fragile. At this point, they have nothing to lose.
VLT, they were being quite aggressive on the A side, so they might have a little hint that this execute what exactly going to be on the B side. Every single player from the side of God's Reign, now they've found themselves a little footing on the B side. All comes down to the post plant. Is anyone flanking on the VLT side? Yes, they are. 2 players on the flank, Deathmaker and HellFF.
Can't use
Gonna
that
be a little
yet.
afraid of the utilities. Ember might just be the one to greet them both.
Obscuring vision.
HellFF is going to be the one to follow it up, of course. In the front, Deathmaker will have a lot of burden on his shoulders, but unfortunately falls down. HellFF only has got a little ghost in his hands and decides to fall back. He knows he cannot have a lot of impact against a Phantom, so he will decide to fall back.
Oh, but Doma gets caught in the transition. Velocity members losing steam,
Last player
losing
standing.
their opportunities, and this round is also done and dusted. But then again, they didn't have much to lose, so they are more than fine giving this one up.
Yeah.
They weren't able to cause as big of a dent in the economy as they would have wanted, but they'll be happy with what they can take.
They tried to play that on a little half buy, right? Because they knew, okay, their bonus has pretty much been stolen away because a lot of bodies dropped out in the eco round. So now, in the upcoming round, they might as well just play on a little bit of half buy, and that's what they exactly did. But look, the problem over here now is that Doma and Excali, they've only got light armor. So that might just be a little problematic, but again, nothing much can be said just off of that. As long as they've got every single piece of utilities, and they do.
Prowler
Mid
sent to the
aggression
double
and
burst.
presence.
Yeah, and even when God's Reign showed that
Bring
presence,
them
they
down.
are carefully taking towards the beating. At this point, keep in mind that God's Reign have not exploited art right off the bat at all in this game. Of course, it's only been 3 rounds, but I wonder when they will start going down that corridor. After making their presence known towards the double doors, they fall back towards B long, where Deathmaker is already jump spotting. But this doesn't trigger any alarms in the camps of Velocity Gaming. With Velocity's aggressive position towards the A side, they will now find out finally that God's Reign aren't present over here. But by the time they do, too late, and the attack will have begun. Hoax gets the first kill. Deathmaker has no choice but to fall back. It wouldn't be wise of him to give up his life right now. He will much rather wait it out and wait for the
Spike
cavalry.
planted.
Yep. And that's what he exactly does. Look at him now. I mean, so far, they've got nice little control on the link as well. VLT. They still need to make the presence known on the site, but Tix cuts off the first man who tries to step in the site. Deathmaker head's now cut off.
No touch. One
Had a
enemy
nice
remaining.
little haircut handed out to himself. Luporus wall to follow it up. These crossfires are just so perfect from God's Reign. And no matter what, VLT, the retakes are fail.
VLT, every time they get this plan down, God's Reign are able to cap so many of the VLT members before they can even get into good post-plan positions. Last time Doma was
Last
caught.
player standing.
This time, before he is just so primely positioned to stop them before they even enter.
Placing swarm grenade.
2-2 is the score line. One thing is definitely for sure is that every single player from VLT,
My ult is ready.
they were really just stacked on mid. They wanted to counter the mid aggression with the mid aggression, but they did not see this push come in on the B site. Excali, here's the plant going. Now the information is definitely conveyed. There's 3 players still on mid available.
Should run.
And every single one's going to decide to flank too and instantly utilize lockdown. But again, considering it's an eco round for the players of VLT, so it's just going to be straight up a run down against the players of Godlike.
Yeah.
Deathmaker's going to be leading the pack with a Blade Storm.
And even sounds being made, so Godwin are aware about this one. They want to have their work cut out for them. The blades ran out, and this round is also out of their grasp. Velocity Gaming now have no say in it. It's just Doma waiting to die, but he can take down Hoax with him before he kisses the grave. God's Rain finally making it work. They've broken the economy of Velocity Gaming. Eco round forced out. And now, God's Rain can safely steam ahead in this momentum. It's the first time that they've acquired the lead in the series. Can they hold on to it before Velocity catch up?
Time will only answer such question. I'm going to keep this thing in mind. God's Rain has picked the map Pearl. It's their pick. So it's understandable too why they're doing so good on this map. They've got some nice little strategies cooking up, and look at God's Rain. They've got a little strategy to hit the A site maybe quite quick. They've got the Nightfall available, and they're going to utilize it. And yeah, the Nightmare's not going to take every single player on the site. Excali knows there's a Prowler following him. God's Rain, another easy stroll on the side. And as I say that, 2 players just followed up with 2 kills. And now it's a 2-on-5 situation. But look at God's Rain, they're just so aggressive. What a shot, HellFF! He cuts off the flow. Another one to follow it up, and HellFF, oh my god. A single wall, that's uncrackable.
Sheesh, no smoke to its dugout. And that's what happens to God's Rain? They'll definitely have to fix it next time around. I can understand their willingness to fight this region because they had no control of the box. And by the time they were able to get inside, they had already lost most of their members. The rest of the agents weren't equipped to handle the spike plant because they already had predetermined responsibilities. And it's just hellfire getting those frags on the fadeaway. You could see his reaction. He gave himself a chef's kiss with that one. Battle of the Oppers. Who do you think's gonna take this? Flash does come through. Eccles helps out Deathmaker to take an angle, but Autumn unfazed. Oh my god, they're just teasing at this point, man. Fight each other already.
Oh, this might just be the moment. No, he looks away in the wrong time. Oh boy. I'm literally just standing up from my chair, just looking at this little awkward moment, but eventually the battle goes down, but unfortunately, we're not able to see it. But it's okay. We know the results. Autumn comes out on top of that duel. They've also got the Cosmic Divide utilized. Fade reveal instantly destroyed, but it's not going to matter. Tix, he's just so aggressive. Got the pedal to the metal. He wants to also take the link control. He finds one. But Doma's there to trade things out. It's a 2-on-4 situation. Clearly having a heavy man advantage. God's Rain looking really good. There's just going to fall back. But one good advantage for the side of Doma is going to be that he's got a lockdown available. But Autumn, oh, someone stop this man. Someone needs to put a full stop to his story. Doma! Oh, what are those inhuman shots? He shuts down the entirety on the site. And Doma, he takes down another. Oh my god, he's like Beast Unleashed. And he's finding every single victims on the front. He's thirsty for the blood.
He was waiting for this gravity well. He was waiting for him to peak. But time's run out. And with it, the hopes of Velocity Gaming as well. Oh, it would have been so perfect. So fitting. An ace in this game finally. We've had so many 4Ks in this match so far. I've lost count. I don't have that many fingers. And it would have been fitting for Doma to take back this crown. God's Rain did everything correctly. The first peak goes well. They don't overcommit to the fight to its link. But then this guy just comes in like a
Oh
wrecking
my
ball.
God. These shots are just so good. Absolutely incredible shots from his side. All the time, just gotta say, that was a nail-biting round. 100%. My nails don't even exist anymore.
Well, I hope you brush your teeth later for all the nails you've got stuck in your teeth, you know? Just use the toothpaste that 9 out of 10 dentists recommend.
Good one, I like that. Good one.
Intense moment between these two teams. And yes, it did come down to the wire. Individual hero plays have been a crucial factor in the victory of Velocity Gaming. They've had so many clips at this point, I've lost count, but you can't always rely on stuff like that. Yes, most of the time, those clips are orchestrated. It's almost like they want God's Reign to follow that path. And then Velocity Gaming are just prepared to knock them down. But that was the vibe in the previous game. I don't get that feel over here. I don't feel like Pearl is going to be a map where God's Reign will be the one trailing behind. Nuh-uh, sir. They are the ones setting the pace. 0 point. Detects Hellfighter, but it's not like it's going to stall him. He's still holding a decent-ish angle, not too far ahead. Not that passive either. And everybody on Velocity Gaming just marking their own angles. The only person who has some sort of trade potential over here is going to be Doma, because he's playing in tandem along with Eccles. Everybody else on Velocity Gaming for themselves. So if God's Reign want, if they were aware about this, they can theoretically challenge these 1v1s and take Velocity apart. But now that the first Cloudburst has been deployed and finally we get to see some action, Velocity have stacked up the piece. Deathmaker's prepared this time. Autumn got the better of him. Now Deathmaker has his revenge.
Deathmaker finally able to put a full stop to Autumn's story. Autumn cut off quite early this time, but it seems like it's going to be a hit. Look at every single player. They're utilizing this smoke to their advantage. It's going to be a quick burst on the
30
site.
seconds left.
Is LFF going to be expecting this? And yes, he does. Falls back instantly. Still got the face reveal in the hand. And oh, the overextension. Emperor shouldn't have went there. I understand he wanted to take the full site control, but now at least they have the info that LFF's just waiting for them to overextend. Every single player from God's Reign is now going to start to fall back. Nice low shots taken from Tix, but they will be forced to play close play. Deathmaker's up is not missing today. Another one.
Sheesh, that retake should not have been easy as it looked like. Velocity Gaming winning every single duel. And at this point, God's Reign are afraid to take control of Art again. The last time Tix tried this backstab, it was almost successful. But now they're not even attempting it because they think that Velocity Gaming are aware about this. That and of course the fact that Trix got the time to plant really late, so he was never in a position to make that move again. That being said, even though Velocity got punished by that backstab last time, they still haven't changed their retake setup. Every time they have to go from A, they always go via flopouts and dugout. Art is never even touched.
Get out of my way!
4-4's the scoreline. Such a close game. Deathmaker, look at this man, so aggressive. Vabor, the bullet whizzes past him. But he's alive, that's all that matters. An aggressive presence towards Arts. Autumn's looking to take this fight against LFF. And we all know, as always, LFF's going to be holding and anchoring down the A site. Position's been given away, and a nice little off draft from the side of Autumn to try and close off LFF here. And he does manage to close it off, but VLT, they're just following it up with these kills. And it's just looking next to impossible to stop VLT, but eventually they get stopped. A 3-on-2 situation in the favor of God's Reign. They've got a huge advantage now.
Spike planted.
And there's a little lockdown being utilized in...
The timing
was a little off.
Exactly, like imagine if that 0 point would have landed just a second ago. He would never have been able to plant the lockdown in the first place, and now he not only faces the lockdown, but he doesn't even get the effect of it. God's Reign fall back to safety.
Swarm grenade out.
And now all they need to do is just play the timing well. Crossfire available on demand. One playing on screen, the other one playing on contact. Report is a bit too far, and now the players on Art have not swung.
Oh my
and the moment they do, they get decapitated. What on earth is this? Velocity Gaming just sending people down to the guillotine alley.
Yeah, Doma's just dismantling anyone who stands against him. I don't know what's going on with Doma. I don't know what he had in that little break, but inside the map of Pearl, Doma is just like a beast unleashed. Stopping this match looking next to impossible, and we talked about Alligator punch away. It seems like this time that he is the prime Alligator in this game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a very brave update, updraft by Autumn. He did that not knowing whether there was someone present towards A long or not. So while he was focused on dugout, and while he was focused towards site, it would have been very easy to take him down. That's a brave push, and that's only possible after Godlike have a read on Velocity Gaming. But did Velocity now know that Godlike are approaching the B side very, very quickly? It's not like they're silent, so
You should run. We will find you.
before, I mean, sorry, not before Doma would have given away the call, and now the peak confirms everything. At this point, it's just about survival. He needs to get the hell out of here, and he's able to do so before he gets punished. Well, we are back to square zero, but at least now Godlike have the potential to plant.
Yeah, they will get the plant down.
Yeah, not
Face your fear!
Oh, Deathmaker's up! This is what I was scared of! And Hoax, unfortunately, walks right in the crosser. And Deathmaker still got the Blade Storms up, and now look at Eccles. Didn't expect Tix to be there, but it's complete fine. Deathmaker spots the man fading away in the smoke. Still got the Blade Storm available. Now the Operator has to strike some players down here. Deathmaker has a lot of things in his hands, and Vapor is gonna be the stepping stone for God's Reign. He takes 3 down all by himself, and Ember, oh boy, follows it up with another one. God's Reign, the team play this team is showing is just incredible.
Yeah, and it's not even like Velocity would have expected that. Velocity definitely just put those smokes down so that they can go ahead and at least tap the spike. Hopefully that would pull people out of those smokes.
Remaining.
Or maybe you could hope, maybe they were hoping that God's Reign would just spam down the spike planting area, but Vapor just swung and nobody was prepared for it. And it's these kind of hero plays that get you the win. On paper, swinging out when you don't know where exactly your enemy players are is a suicide mission. But this guy makes it work. That's the beauty. See, there you go again. Autumn on paper should have been safe. That takeaway stock covered his approach, but Deathmaker, his sixth sense tingling. Finally put to a rest by Tix.
Oh my god, look at this play, it's crazy. Deathmaker was pretty much the bait over here. He set up LFF for a great play, and he might just find one. Does he go for the second? He does, but unfortunately his lifeline gets cut off. A 3-on-3, I feel like a little trigger discipline could have changed the entire scenario. Because as I said, Deathmaker did his job. He set up LFF for a play. Should have had a little trigger discipline.
Yeah, but now God's Reign, once burned, they will be twice shy to check that angle again. Once again, going towards the B side. This is a common approach we saw from both these teams in the previous map as well. Instead of rotating away, they would much rather just spend some time in spawn, cut sound, and then hit the same side once again. This time, Velocity leaving the B side for a brief moment, and now they're regretting it instantly.
30 seconds left.
Spike goes down, 5-5 is the scoreline. This game is just way too close for comfort. Every single piece of utility is deployed too. They've got the alarm bot set up. They've got the Astro Star set up. And VLT, they're quite late on this rotate. But every single player's now, of course, the information's given away. Flash to follow it up too. Quite close. And how does he manage to find that? That reaction time's incredible. Vapor once again with a 3K. It's crazy how many times Vapor stepped up for this team.
And
he keeps on doing so.
Man, this guy is ice cold. Not a smile on his face. It's just another day at the office for him.
Last player standing.
You know what? You know what? Crips, I'm gonna say it. He's the Giga Chad.
He is the Giga Chad. Yes.
He is the Giga Chad. Giga Chad Vapor, spam in the chat, please.
Ice cold, man. At least even the Giga Chad guy is smiling or something. This guy, he feels
Stoic.
no need to do that.
Completely stoic. That's what Vapor is. More stoic than Patrick Bateman.
Oh, yes. He's got the blood of his enemies all over his face, just like that. But you know what? I won't go into the gory details. That place is where the devil resides.
You
At
should
least
run.
that's what Manfleet used to say. Lockdown and Haunt, both invested, don't really find anything, but it's not like Velocity want to give up. They find this tiny corner. Now, my question is, does the Lord toss Mana Swarms into this tiny corner? No, but there is a fragment, and now Doma caught over there. He can't leave because of the seas, and he dies a brutal death. Autumn now takes the position that Doma once acquired. More peaks where Hellfighter will take care of him, but Tix is trading everyone.
Yeah. And keep this in mind, this is the last round for the first half. Eccles is going to be the last man alive. Yeah, keep this in mind too. Eccles was one of the most impactful players in the previous map. And he's also the IGL of VLT. He needs to be more impactful than the previous game. But this time, Vapor. Oh, this man is just a life taker. But ladies and gentlemen, on Pearl, that's it. Going to be the first half. And the first half, I gotta say, it was a nail-biting half, Crips. Because we haven't seen such a close game, of course, yesterday. But today's game, it's a game changer.
Exactly. This is so different from the one we saw yesterday. Both the teams just trying to one-up each other. And
Yeah.
I'm not at all surprised by the fact that Doma is actually now having trouble keeping up with God's Reign because Tix is starting to dance around him. This guy, Eccles, also, he had an amazing read on God's Reign,
Yeah.
but he's finding it difficult now. Will he be able to continue? We'll find out after the break.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it
Welcome back into the second half, ladies and gentlemen, off this Pearl game, which has been quite a nail-biting game, that's for sure. God's Reign, we were talking about how they lost the first map, of course, took things way too close on the second half. But now God's Reign is on a huge lead. Not a huge lead exactly, 2 rounds lead they've got in their hands,
find
but
you.
if they do win this pistol round, then it might just be converted into a huge lead.
Haunts exchanged on either side, and both the eyes just waving hi to each other. Velocity Gaming doing something that God's Reign seldom did in the attacking half. Take art control right off the bat.
Bring them down.
Early control is taken by God's Reign to a degree, but the timing is just so unfortunate for them. Ember still is able to
A.
reconnect. Wow, he was not supposed to survive that one.
This pistol round command says Hellafeth. And he's only got Excalibur to save him. Hellafeth's quite low. Now it's a 2-on-2 situation. Gotta watch out from the Sheriff because it hits quite hard.
need a
Excalibur's caught a little bullet onto himself. Both these players are on quite a critical HP. One's on 28, the other's one's on 54. One single Sheriff bullet on both of those should seal the deal. And now they're falling back on the side. VLT, they need to get the plant down. That's what their main key of winning has to be. Because, of course, once you get the plant down, you'll also get a little bit more extra credits that you
One
can try to rely
enemy
on in the
remaining.
upcoming round. But the plant's
Spike
denied,
down
Hoax.
A.
The aggression's on point. And Autumn
Yikes.
will just cut his head off.
Yeah, God's Reign able to utilize the timing so well. Velocity Gaming, before they committed the plant, they did check that area. They cleared it. They didn't find anybody else. And the moment they started to retreat and
Last
focus
player
more towards
standing.
securing Art and
Spike
maybe
down
Along,
A.
that's when God's Reign was able to move in. And at that point, Velocity was so sure that dugout was safe, but they got like a jump scare over there.
God's Reign, as I
find
said,
you.
all they need is this pistol round to make it a huge lead. And now they've got a 3 rounds lead. Considering it's the second half, this lead is now going to be counted as a big lead. Unless something turnaround type of deal is being made over here. and maybe VLT is able to turn things or flip things around, but the chances of that happening are quite low because you've got Autumn just dedicated on that Marshall. And we know in the economy rounds, all you need to do is just hit one shot. It hits for 101, and that's going to take care of your enemies. Yeah, pokes out one. Autumn misses that shot, but it's completely fine. Marshall shoots quite quick.
He's once again prepared for this one. He doesn't even go ahead and peek himself. He asks Vibor to do it. Spamming into the smoke, but Vibor has to fall back. At this point, there's not much that GodsRain can do to defend, but Autumn, my goodness, he stands his ground. How on earth has he survived this relentless assault? Turns it around too, and Hoax follows up gladly. Velocity Gaming get completely clobbered. Sheesh. Autumn, my man, this guy is a beast. I mean, yes, Vibor did help him out quite a lot over there, but given how he was required to fall back in that situation, but he made the call to stay over there, especially when Vibor was falling back, I thought that might have been a miscommunication, but the way Autumn turned it around, he had no business winning every single duel like that.
Health has got some stuff underneath his back, that's for sure. But unfortunately, what just happened there? Oh, that's a disaster. Deathmaker cuts that man down. Tix is still posted up. As we all know, this is going to be a little,
That was a wallbang, wasn't it?
yeah. A little part of his body was exposed there. But it's fine, you know, it's still the bonus round. Even if VLT do take this round away, it's not going to impact that much on the economy. They're still going to have enough amount of economy to go for Vandals and Phantoms on the upcoming round. Maybe Autumn will be able to just buy an op because he's got 3,300 credits in the bag. And yeah, I think so that's the game plan for him. Hoax and Vibor's got the Spectre. Vibor is in quite an interesting spot behind the screens. Is anyone going to check this? That's my main question. They do, but unfortunately, Vibor, he still finds one. Could have found the second one too, but Echoes is too quick on the react.
Yeah, Vibor knew what he was doing. He knew it's a one-on-one position. Knows he's gonna die, so might as well take someone down before he hits the dust. Echoes now desperately trying to not get into the crosshairs of these deadly sheriffs, hoping to send them back. Crossfire between Hellfighter and Eccles both. They won't be able to help him if GodsRain try to take control of the back halls. But now Hellfighter peeks wide to accommodate for this setting. In tandem, they both make the adjustment, and this is done and dusted.
Velocity Gaming, finally, they show some semblance of life. Doma has been doing really good for his team, to be honest. In the first half, the way he's been flipping these rounds.
One enemy
Those
remaining.
3Ks and 4Ks, then you've got Vibor on the other side, who's been able to put up some impactful performances. But as I said, Autumn's now going to come up with an operator, and he exactly does. All he needs is one more kill for the Blade Storm 2. But I don't think so he's instantly going to utilize it in this round. He's going to try to rely heavily on that operator control. And yeah, he's playing quite aggressive too. He's towards screens. Autumn has a lot of responsibility currently in his hands. And VLT knows the operator's in play, so that's why they do not want to go towards B.
Yes, but even when they slowly creep up the A side, eventually GodsRain will figure this out. Now, luckily for Velocity Gaming, GodsRain don't feel the urge to play aggressively yet. They don't want to gather information. To some extent, they can make this default work. And as soon as Velocity Gaming starts to hit this A side, the members of GodsRain, Hoax will definitely fall back behind the smoke. Comes to Ember, he's just gonna try to stick one to those guys. No, instead, quite the opposite happens. They both jump to the smokes, and Velocity Gaming are being held back, but the trades go left, right, center. And it's Tix who gets mowed down finally. But they go blow for blow, trade for trade. Velocity Gaming still having the upper hand. Vibor tries to swing, tries to get the timing right, but Eccles is mocking him. And it's all down to
30
Autumn.
seconds left.
The op that was avoided will now have to be saved.
Yeah, Autumn's playing really safe here, as you said. It's quite a nice weapon. You do not want to give it to your enemies, so Autumn might as well will try to go for some exit frags. He's waiting for some overextension from VLT, but it doesn't really seem like the case here. VLT are playing really disciplined because they know even they themselves are quite desperate to get these rounds in the hands. But gotta say, after this round, they're gonna have a huge impact inside the entire game, considering now they've also made a huge dent on their opponent's economy. Godfrey, the economy is gonna be looking pretty cracky here.
Yeah, and Velocity Gaming was so stoic this time. They knew that God's Reign, because the economy was stable enough to afford an AWP this time, if they don't get shot down by an AWP at the start of the round, then they'll definitely continue going down that region. And they didn't care if God's Reign knew. Velocity were just so confident in their execute and its ability to cover the entire site. It forced everyone from God's Reign out of position, and not in the way I expected. I thought that God's Reign would try to just fall back and play for a retake, but instead they committed even harder. Autumn tried to make that rotation early on. He wasn't there in time, but the remaining members of God's Reign who was present on the site, they came ahead of the Nebulas that Hellfighter had placed and tried to fight ahead of that cover so that they don't get locked out of the action. And in the process of doing so, Velocity demolished them. They fully expected that re-aggression from God's Reign and were prepared enough for it, because Velocity were not on a mission to go for a land grab. They just wanted to make contact and bait that fight from God's Reign. And it worked out so well. And even when I make it sound like this was all a part of Velocity's master plan, God's Reign are not at fault, because that was the valid way to counter that situation. Most people would assume that when the site is being flooded with the Astra stars and all your stuns and everything, then the logical choice that a normal player would have would be to either join his teammates or play from a position where he can get traded from. But instead, God's Reign went for the opposite. And Velocity still predicted that. It's either they predicted it or they were just able to adapt really, really fast, which is impressive. And if Velocity Gaming can continue on that path, then they might even be able to tie up the lead with God's Reign and end this game at 2-0.
They had a little tactical timeout for themselves. Don't exactly know what sort of talks they've had, but I want to see a little changes being made in that tactical timeout. Excali! Oh, nice little cheeky angle being helped from Autumn. Catches Excali fading away. Another one to caught as well. Autumn catches two players. A nice little start given for the side of God's Reign, but another two players getting a little too overeager, a little too ahead of themselves, but it's still a 3-on-3 situation. Autumn with that 2K definitely has found himself in a lot of nice little...
You want to find it?
Huge confidence booster. I want to see what sort of impact he's going to have with that confidence now. Oh, look at this man. Hella Fef. He's able to sneak in. And maybe they might as well try to go aggressive together. And they are trying to make some sort of contact play. They have this little contact play. They have this nice little crossbar setup. Autumn finds the third. He goes for a fourth. Is he going to find the ace? No, he's going to be the answer. Echo stops it. Oh, these solo plays.
Yeah, these solo plays are just absolutely mind-boggling. How they play around each other and trade one out. Autumn, of course, it's a tricky one to operate around this astral cosmic divide, but he still just jumps through. That was a very brave peek from him. The Blade Storm goes for the right click, decapitates his opponents, and then he just swings in and out, dribbling through that little cover, dribbling across the wall, and still shooting everybody down. That's a dance of death, if I had to call it. But Eccles, yeah, he's got the rhythm a little bit faster. Comes out on top, gets Velocity that yet another round. And if they continue at this pace, then Velocity Gaming will have a thriving economy.
Interesting. So usually when we knew that VLT, they had a little turret
Face
set
your fear!
on the box near arch, but this time the turret from the side of VLT is going to be set up on the B side. So nice little change coming in from there too. VLT straight up just dashing in. Oh, Deathmaker misses all of his knives. Not a good news for them. But he's still got the operator that's waiting to strike some players down. The Nightfall was exactly on the time, gave a lot of info away to the players of God's Reign. And VLT, their entire push has now been countered. A lot of information's given away, but they're trying to pull off some sneaky plays here. Autumn's expecting someone to come all the way down from sewers. And yeah, this is a nice little angle being held. Is he gonna push up? Oh, the timing works in the favor of Eccles, but there's another man just waiting to catch him. Eccles finds one, doesn't overextend. Nice little disciplined play.
My goodness, it feels so disheartening to see stuff like this. Godwin had the right idea. Velocity went to bisect the map in half, but found the opening.
Last player
Rushed this
standing.
side in. Hoax is only good for one. The rest of them get mowed
10
down by the
seconds left.
captain of Velocity
Spike
Gaming,
planted.
who started this round off with incredible timing and now finishes it strong with a triple. This man leads by example, man. And I can't even blame God's Reign for this loss. They just got unlucky there.
Yeah. Unlucky, out-timed. Oh boy. God's reign, and if I'm not wrong, after this round, their economy is going to be quite broken. So Wabor's going to be the only man with a light shield and also a Vandal in the hand. And all he needs is 2 more orbs. Or 2 more kills for that lockdown. Maybe they can try to utilize in the upcoming round, but I personally do not really prefer using any sort of ultimates in the pistol round, unless if it's a Blade Storm. Then I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, and speaking of you not liking ultimates being wasted, let's talk about that Nightfall a little. It just did not help them at all in the round we saw before this one. Velocity had their momentum halted. And I thought that that would be a little bit of a concern for Velocity Gaming, you know, having invested such a big ultimate and not being able to get anything on the back of it. I thought that would just push Velocity back and they will try to go somewhere else. And they did that, but I thought that would be B. I didn't know that they would go down the water slide, especially when God's Reign was guarding it. The moment Otto left, it's not even like he left it alone. He did have his teammate cover it. But Doma still able to find the gap, find that chink in the armor that brings Goliath down.
Here.
And this little chink in the armor, how much more can it be exploited? Can Velocity thread the needle once again? Now that the stakes are even, now that the score is tied.
I don't like this. Oh, I thought he was going to connect a headshot. I thought he's going to just give out a haircut, but no. The reaction was a little quicker from the side of VLT to cut the Sheriff off. We were speaking about the eco round, and already VLT. Things are equaled out. That was a little equalizer. Excali straight it out for Autumn. 4-on-4 situation. The approach now has been slowed down. And speaking of the Nightfall, I feel like the Nightfall bought them enough time, but it's just all about being unlucky, to be honest.
30 seconds left.
Back in the moment to try to peek through it, Ticks and before they mow everybody down.
I can't use that.
Hoax is in a position that he can be rezzed in. And he comes back online. Deathmaker can't do anything about this one. Very difficult to peek through that costume, especially with an op.
10 seconds
Well,
left.
at least he puts Hoax back in the grave, puts him back where he came from. But at what cost?
Oh no, stop
Trying to
it.
get all these cool frags, but God's Reign still take the lead once again. And that 2 in a round, but they had no
enemy
money.
remaining.
Just a good read.
Oh, what? Yo, stop! Stop it! What were those shots? Those are some quick operator shots. But speaking of that round, gotta say, I mean, I was a little scared for
30
God's
seconds
Reign,
left.
but the way these guys are holding the crossfires, Crips, I'm not
remaining.
gonna lie, this entire series has been about holding those crossfires and team play.
Exactly. That's what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and when those things clash, one of them is eventually gonna break. They keep resisting each other until one of them cracks. And now, the cracks that were present in the God's Reign economy have been filled. Velocity is still flourishing though.
Here.
They've got plenty of dollables to go around. Velocity are also going back to their good old roots. They're trying to knock on the doors of
Placing
art.
swarm grenade.
They're making as much noise as possible towards the double door region. Meanwhile, they're completely silent about the art approach. Of course, now that the alarm bot's been triggered, good thing they avoided that. The gravity build and the nanoswarm combination could have chewed your HP off so quickly. Adjustments made by Velocity. God's Reign hold on. They're still looking to continue in this area. The smoke cuts away Vibor's position. He was in a good position, mind you. frag can show how aware they are, and now Six has his death flash before his eyes. So many of them peeking at once.
Six misses that shot. Could have been quite a crucial one, but unfortunately wasn't able to find a connection out of that one. Look at Doma, he's going so aggressive, and he manages to find one no matter what. Bubor's being cut off for God's Reign. They'll need to follow it up with something here. And oh, the overcommitment from Deathmaker. I understand you're an aggressive player, but that's not a moment. Your team needed you to stay alive and right there. And now things are looking in the favor of God's Reign as they do have the man advantage. 0 point goes in. Positions now given away. They might just know that Echo's in the close range. But what? The Cloud Burst saves him for a while. And how is he alive?
Sheesh. Yeah, that's one of those rounds that comes down to the wire. It's so chaotic. It's incredible how much efficiency God's Reign have when it comes to recreating these areas. Folks going there all by himself with an underhand. That should not have been able to get that much impact. But since he did, he cleared up the path for the rest of his teammates also to follow in. And once there's enough room for them to regroup, they are all going to stick together. Come through like a death ball approach. And nothing can stand in their way. They're trading blows, they're trading rounds. Both these teams reach double digits. And the match hangs in the balance. Velocity Gaming had a difficult time in Haven as well, but this one is so much more challenging. At least in Haven, they started off with that massive lead, and it would have built them some confidence. But now God's Reign are keeping up, and both these teams have thrown so much out of their strat book. The page is burnt up, used up. Now it just comes down to whoever's got a deeper strat book, whoever's drilled more.
Another close game. Another close series here. Oh boy. 10-10 is the scoreline. Every single player is now starting to sweat. You can see their foreheads glowing. Echo's probably making some calls over here. I mean, this is a tactical timeout, and both these teams as well need a little breather. This tactical timeout is going to help them out quite a lot. And we're going to resume right inside the 11th round for any of these teams if they do win. But Deathmaker, as always, going to be the marcher in the front. He's going to march in with the rest of his team. And a lot of players from VLT are just stacked outside B long.
Yeah, and they're not making too much noise. It's not like God's Reign is doing much to re-clear those areas either. They're just praying that they have the right read. Look at Hellfighter. He knows for a fact that God's Reign will try pushing the extremities of the map, and that's why he's waiting towards the attacking spawn, ready to intercept Ember. Well, now except Ember's got a much harder job. And there's much more players. The Velocity are throwing at him, but he's just throwing them back to lobby. What on earth were those shots? Are you serious? Ember should not have been able to do that. Not only was Hellfighter present to mark that angle, but Velocity were completely aware about his push, and yet he fails. Lightfall invested. Poor can't market much,
30 seconds
but when
left.
he pokes in tandem with Dix, can he do something? Lockdown's about to pop. Oh no, they break it! And he was able to get the revenge back, and they're actually chewing away at Velocity Gaming. Yes, they might have the site. Yes, the lockdown wasn't destroyed, but there's so many players on Velocity who are down now.
They were able to find the extra value. That's what the point is. This was an eco round, and look at this. So well done, even considering it was an eco round. God's Reign, they really needed this round. And no, just give him the fist bump. Please, Wubor. Just give him the fist bump. Don't leave him hanging like that. And yeah, finally. All right, I can calm down. You got to give them fist bumps.
Isn't this like the second eco that God's Reign have been able to pull off? They've done this before as well, and that eco round win was what allowed them to even maintain that lead against Velocity Gaming. And for Velocity to have a meltdown like this, especially at this stage of the match, I mean, if you would have been able to keep God's Reign broke for the next 1 or 2 rounds, then Velocity might have been able to even take map point. But now they're just giving it away to God's Reign, and God's Reign have more than enough money to even purchase in the next round, so there's absolutely nothing for them to worry about.
An early use of 0 point, he gained some info. Deathmaker's got the Blade Storm available. And as you can see, Excali's on alert. Uses the Prowler. Doesn't get any sort of info. He's going to be the late one to rotate out. They've also got the turret watching the flank. Setup's looking pretty decent from the side of VLT. On the other hand, if you take a look at God's Range, they've only got one man, Autumn, on the site with the operator. They put a lot of faith in this man. Unfortunately, misses the opening shots. And things are not looking good, but he catches him. Nice shot. Deathmaker shut down. Autumn, this is a shot you really wanted to hit, but unfortunately, Eccles takes him down. And VLT, they back it up with another frag. Scally's quite low, but Texas got the phase reveal he can try to use. Also got a couple of Prowlers. One thing is for sure, that God's Dream, they've got a decent amount of utility still left in their hands.
Yeah, and this Cosmic Divide is going to buy them so much time. Goes out, nobody broken yet. Prowler only reveals information of one.
One enemy remaining.
Hellfighters, as soon as contact is made, Velocity hang on. They tie up the scores once again. Quite interesting how Velocity have adapted around.
Oh, they shot.
Earlier, they would do very
One
little to
enemy
make noise in
remaining.
other parts of the map. They might
One enemy remaining.
occasionally send down like a Honda or a Prowler at one end, but they would always just stick together. The whole fast-paced executive velocity at one particular trigger time is what was keeping them afloat. And now that God's Reign have figured out what those trigger points are, they can get a read on velocity. But because Excalibur was playing alone this time around,
Bring them down.
some rotations, and Velocity were able to overwhelm the B-side yet again. Now let's see if Velocity stick together this time as well or not. So far they are. 4-man approach towards Art, Excalibur lay long. We've seen this before. God's Reign has seen this before, but how do they adapt? This is the carbon copy.
Takes an Ember on the A site, just waiting to greet them, welcome them. And Ember's trying to be really patient with his utility. Deathmaker's just waiting for someone to extend, and he's playing quite aggressive with the operator. Has the play storm available. If he wants to pop, he definitely can. But Tex is showing quite a lot of patience with his reveal too. Eventually utilizes it and might just catch someone. Now they know it's going to be a match. It's going to be complete over march on the site. Deathmaker finds one. Oh, Eccles wants to follow it up with the second, and yes he does with a heroic entry. Eccles digs the grave for Ember. A 5-on-2 situation. Autumn's got the op in the hand. But keep one thing in mind. 3 players from VLT are quite hurt.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't think God's Reign can do it, man. Velocity Gaming, they take all the damage in the world, but they don't lose a single player. And it's not like God's Reign made too many mistakes. No, sir. They had Autumn with that op already pushed up to the long, so deep that he can figure out exactly what Velocity Gaming is. He doesn't see a single soul on mid, not a single soul on B. So God's Reign had a 4-stack towards the A site. And 3 of them died. Veboa had no choice but to fall back. And despite having all the information in the world, God's Reign did not hold the A site properly. And that was gutting for them. To have the information, but to not be able to act upon it.
One thing's for sure, Eccles making a lot of moves. He's giving out a lot of calls. And look at the playing stance of Deathmaker. It has always amazed me.
Yeah.
One hand all the way in the front, the other hand on the keyboard, all the way in the back.
He's not alone.
Yeah.
RBK, Antidote, a lot of people in OG also have this kind of playstyle.
It's kind of like an archer, you know?
Yeah.
One hand holding the bow, the other hand pulling the arrow back. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on this round for now.
Yeah, I was
2
gonna
players
say that would have
lurking.
made him
Bring them down.
Anyway, definitely eats that Prowler. Lets him fight him. Maybe even pats him on the head, but then he's doing quite a lot. He's the Opera, but he's jump spotting. He's trying to lure out. He's trying to lure out Ember into that fight, but it's not happening. Ember
Placing swarm grenade
doesn't
out.
really phase that contact towards double doors, and before has to go
Oh my god.
these players, instead of going straight towards the B side, VLT decided to take care of him first, and now they're retaking water. The last time Eccles was here, he was able to find the timing right, and that was when GDR was still watching the angle. Now that the defender spawn is unmarked, Eccles can do all kinds of damage. Even more disastrous than what happened last time.
One down.
Oh my god! This moment was just so awkward for me. But eventually Ember peeks out. Ember's been in that single smoke for a really long time. Eventually Ember peeks out, but Autumn, oh, that's a nice cutoff on the lurk. Autumn's able to put the full stop on that lurk. Now it's a 3-on-3 situation. Autumn's got to op in the hands. Deathmaker's going to be his counterpart. Hoax needs to stay alive in this situation. He's got no utilities, but might just serve as a bait for his team. Autumn's op needs to strike. Even if he misses a single shot, that can pay a huge penalty. And Health. Health takes down one, and Health has to step up here. And VLT, they get another map in their hands. God's Reign, they get 2-0'd. None of us expected this. None of us saw it coming. But this is what the result is. Both the maps were really close. But gotta say, God's Reign, they really gave it their best.
Jeez, yeah, they made Velocity sweat. And you can see the level of these teams. It's so goddamn high. They were reading each other on the fly. And this kind of feels like a Clash of the Titans kind of match, you know? With every team bringing in foreign superpower and every team being able to read each other so well, there were layers upon layers in this match, man. I feel like the 30 seconds we have is not enough to cover this game's entire depth. Might have to make a separate video about it. But yes, this game, even though it's a 2-0, it is much closer than what the scoreline makes it look like.
Bro, I gotta say, this was such an intense game. It's like you could feel the intensity, you could feel the heat as a caster. And I'm sure even the viewers felt every single moment. They lived through it. But with the cold way these players played, it didn't seem like any one of these players were cracking under the pressure. But gotta say, Vibor, the way he stepped up on the second map, incredible. Incredible.
Man, this is just how every single game is gonna be. That we have a banger of a tournament ahead of us. It's just day 2, and we're already seeing so much high-level gameplay. Every step of the way, whenever Velocity decide to pick up the pace, God's Reign respond by taking space instead. And with both these teams trying to play on timing and aggro, it turned into a Clash of the Titans. This was a banger.
A banger indeed. Hearts in the chat. Eccles, as an IGL, he stepped up. He made some great decisions for VLT. But still, I gotta say, this matchup was way too close, and I feel like God's Reign, I want to see them once again to decide or to make any sort of conclusions, because I feel like God's Reign, unfortunately, there were quite a lot of circumstances where they got unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many occasions where they had the right read, but they just could not win out the duels against Velocity. And I can't really blame the loss on just lost duels. I have to credit where they made things correctly, where they made the decisions right. They were spot on in the mental game.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, all the games for today has been concluded. What a great show it was today. But thank you so much for everyone who stopped by on the English stream. Thank you so much if you guys decided to click on the English stream. But now it's time for us to take a leave. It's time for us to take an exit. You guys have a wonderful day. We're going to take a leave. Have a good night.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity.